Yeah, thank you, Erin. Hi, everyone. So I'm going to be introducing the Prime Buchholz team today. Prime Buchholz is a sustainable independent financial advisory firm, largely serving clients such as UNH and other large nonprofits. You can go to the next slide. Thank you. So my name's Jill. I'm a junior. I'm majoring in finance and economics.
My name's Grace. I'm a junior and I'm a finance and sustainability major.
My name's Ben. I'm a senior and I'm majoring in business administration and accounting.
My name is Daisy. I'm a freshman at Paul College studying economics and sustainability.
And I'd like to also introduce Sue Kaplan. She is our peer or our faculty advisor, and she has been such a lovely help throughout this process and has really done so much for the team. So thank you so much for all of your work, Sue. This is just introducing our clients really quickly. Kate and Kristen and Rachel have been incredible to work with this semester. We have just had such a great time working with Prime and getting to know them more. And they've just been such an asset to us, and we've really enjoyed getting to know them. So you can go to the next slide. Thank you, Colleen.
Okay, and we have helped Prime Buchholz reach their goals by going through the BIA with Rachel and completing actually 100% of the questions as of this week. During this process, we helped them to go from 68.5 points to 87.5 points, which is above the amount needed for submission. And we also created a comprehensive list of recommendations on how they could get more points going forward. All this was helping to prepare for a possible certification by year end. And you can go to the next slide. So in this slide, you can see the breakdown of the 19-point increase in their scores and the different sections of the assessment. And then in terms of our deliverables, first off, we created a consulting agreement and NDA that served as a roadmap for tackling the assessment in order to best help Prime Buchholz meet their goals. And our next deliverable is a recommendation report. This extensive document includes all possible improvements Prime Buchholz could put in place to gain more points and suggestions on how to go about making those changes. The document also includes questions flagged for follow-up with different departments to make improving the BIA more straightforward for their team. And the last deliverable is a visual representation of a recommendation report, and my colleague Ben will go into more detail on that in a bit.
All right, so the next couple of slides are going to show some highlights and examples of progress we've made in the individual BIA sections. So starting with the environment section, there are many questions in this section that pertain to how much energy is being used in Prime's facilities, what percentage is renewable energy, etc. So through communication with the group that manages Prime's energy bills, they now have access to this information in order to answer those questions. And hopefully this will set the tone for them moving forward to monitor and manage their energy use. You can go to the next slide, please. So one of the main questions we worked on in the governance section is the mission lock, which is when the company makes it clear through their legal documents, and in Prime's case, their LLC documents, that they've chosen to pursue social and ethical goals. And we provided Prime with the template in order to do this, and the team is currently looking into the best way to complete this question. You can go to the next slide.
So the workers section of the BIA was a heavy focus of ours during the semester, and we were able to provide many insights and recommendations on how to gather information and document Prime's positive impact on their workforce. Recently, Prime was able to earn BIA points for documenting employee satisfaction through a survey conducted by Rachel. Our team also made some recommendations related to impacting Prime's clients, such as sending out an educational customer impact newsletter. And if you go to the next slide. So here on this slide is our improvement roadmap, which is a visualization of some of the various recommendations we have compiled for Prime Buchholz in improving their assessment score. Each point you see represents a recommendation, with the x-axis representing ease of implementation and the y-axis representing potential point values on the B-impact assessment. And if you'll go to the next slide, you'll see some recommendations in the top right quadrant, which should be prioritized in the short term, ideally before Prime submits their assessment for review. Some of these points would simply be earned just by tracking down the right information and documentation, so we believe Prime is in a great spot moving forward.
So just to give some takeaways that we found were most impactful during our experience in the clinic this semester. This is my third semester in the clinic. And what I really felt like separated this semester from others was the effective communication that we had with our clients throughout the semester and with each other. And we really found that our success was due to an email that was sent out before our meetings with an itinerary, and then another follow-up email after our meetings with a review of what we went over and what we covered. And that really set us up for success and allowed us to make as much progress as we did.
All right, so something that I've learned this semester, being that it's also my second time in the clinic, is that the structure and projects is always going to be different in terms of how often you communicate, like Jill touched upon, and what agenda the meetings are, and just how it's going to be structured. And so I just learned it all depends on how the client feels and how they feel comfortable structuring it, because the main goal is to help them.
So personally, my takeaway was realizing how valuable this opportunity was to build career skills such as managing logistics in a consulting environment and doing all that while helping a company to improve its social impact. So thank you to Prime Buchholz for working with us.
And my main takeaway has been learning about all the different components that make up a B Corp and just how well-rounded the assessment is. And it's really just instilled in me how much I want to work for a company that has these priorities. Okay, and we just want to close out by thanking the B Impact Clinic and Prime Buchholz for making this really an incredible learning experience for all of us. And thank you to you all for being here, and we're happy to take any questions.
Amazing job, Prime Buchholz team. Everybody is loving that chart. It's just really nicely done. So I want to hand it off to Kate, Kristen, and Rachel to just share a few words. Whoever wants to go first, if any, you don't all have to speak for sure, but I'd love to hand it off to one of you to share some insight.
Maybe I'll start. Rachel really did a lot of the heavy lifting here, so hopefully she gets an opportunity to jump in, but just I wanted to start with, really thanking Daisy and Jill and Ben and Grace and Sue for what was really just a seamless process. And again, I Rachel was able to kind of take it to completion because everyone was so professional and well organized. Jill, referenced that kind of pre-meeting agenda. The follow-up was absolutely incredible. We all kind of knew on a weekly basis what was going on. There was a lot of creative kind of problem solving, and it was such a wonderful experience to kind of see this team really get to know us, embrace us and our culture. And, in some cases there was just some challenges around the way our business operates and how we work with our clients, and the confidentiality of information and restrictions around what we can and can't share. And this team was exceptional in kind of navigating that. And we had a really great time just focusing in on really how we get to the next step. And I think we all came away with a great deal of confidence that, we can move forward with submitting and ultimately, achieving the certification. So kudos to the team, and, special thanks to, Erin and Fiona and Emily and everyone. Erin, just thank you for this, and the rest of the teams too. Congratulations.
Yeah, and to kind of reiterate what Kate mentioned as well, our team was incredibly organized and very professional. So we were all very blown away in that sense. And our team really understood our organization well, and parts of the assessment that we were doing really great in, and then other parts that we definitely could use some more work with, and were able to provide some really in-depth recommendations and go above and beyond for researching different information for us. So we were very, very impressed, and I always look forward to our weekly meetings.
I can't just help but mention this is just a really lovely full circle moment, because Rachel participated in one of our other programs in our what is now called our sustainability Fellows. It's a summer fellowship internship program, and Rachel was one of 2 students who was spent the summer working at Prime Buchholz. It's 2 years ago now, right, Rachel? And when she graduated last year, she was offered a full-time job there. So it's really wonderful to have you now being a mentor to a current group of students and to keep that connection with Prime Buchholz going. So thanks, Rachel.
Yes, and we're also very excited to continue our work with Jill this summer as well.
Yes, another student joining your group this summer. It's so fantastic.
Thank you so much. Jason has a question for the Prime Buchholz folks. What are the most important attributes you look for in an ESG investment, and how would you describe the relationship between companies' ESG ratings and the returns they bring in? It's a great question, Jason.
It is a really great question. And it was nice, Andy's initial comments about how somehow this pandemic has really kind of accelerated the interest in sustainability and a recognition of how incredibly that, is the role of all of us, including business. What's been amazing for us and our clients who are largely not-for-profits has been the degree to which they've really embraced sustainable investing through this. It means a lot of things to a lot of different people. A lot of our clients will focus on the environmental component of ESG, or they may be more concerned with respect to, social or racial justice. So the S component, we have some clients who really just want investments that are thoughtful about each of those impacts and really trying to find companies that are going to outperform because they are actively engaging on these fronts and are going to be more sustainable and more profitable than their peers. And I think there's a growing body of evidence, whether you look at some of the ESG indices relative to the traditional stock indices or bond indices, that there's been a high degree of outperformance over time. And I think it gets towards that issue of sustainability. And I think investors as well are starting to re-rate companies based on these factors. And so we're absolutely seeing that. I think one thing I would mention is we're seeing, given the strength of some of these kind of tailwinds for these types of companies, we've seen some big investment firms come forward and, put a ESG or a sustainable label on what they were doing. And so that's one of our biggest challenges right now. It feels like there's a lot of greenwashing in the industry, a lot of groups coming forward. And so for us, what makes a great investment, we go beyond kind of just the investment piece, and we really try and understand the firms. And so in some ways, this has been a great framework for us because we've been asking the investment firms about how they run their business and are they in green buildings and how they pay their staff. And so I think learned a lot through this process that's also going to help us on the investment side.
Yeah, thank you so much for that answer, Kate.